explanation. I'm happy to take any questions. Just before we, unfortunately the roving mic isn't working, so if you just raise your voice.
Mr Mayor, before I ask any questions, I'd like to make one statement. That is, I believe that we elect our councillors and our mayor to represent us. I personally wrote a letter to each of the councillors and you yourself, Mr Mayor, and I think it's a lack of common decency that I got not one reply. I wrote personally I'll introduce myself. Suzanne Allen. I live at 224 Cathill Road. My first question is that it seems that a lot of this infrastructure is being rushed through very quickly. I'd like to ask whether there's a reason for this to rush through. I think the environmental impact has been stated as nil to start with. It's a very poor report. Is the infrastructure being raced through so that it prevents a proper environmental impact statement being done?
No.
A little bit more information than no, please.
Does no one want to comment on the environmental assessments that will be carried out?
Could I just say there's actually plans that have been put in that report that don't exist on this. They don't exist in the Blue Mountains.
It's only to inform the Part 5 assessments as we move forward. It's just part of the process before we sell the land. And I would remind people that DAs have to be lodged before houses can be built, which will identify any further environmental constraints on each parcel of land.
Will the land be cleared before that happens?
We currently don't have any plans to clear the land. That's what our reports say before us. However, it's not out of the question. However, the reports I alluded to in the presentation are yet to be completed. A master plan that identifies the healthy species of trees to be retained, and that'll flow through to any DA that is subsequently lodged for the development of houses.
So you're saying that there will be further environmental studies? I'm not sure what you're saying.
That's the part.
Correct. The environmental study that...
Yes, that is correct, sir. There will be many more environmental studies.
It's not being done by the same group.
One at a time, please. Before
any sale goes ahead.
Before construction, not before sale.
Or potential clearing.
One other thing I want to clarify. So what was subdivided for 90 plots, that area that was subdivided is now going to only have 45 plots.
That's correct.
But allotments. So they were much larger.
Twice the size. 650 square metres on the old land, 1,300 square metre blocks. Very similar, or slightly larger than a quarter acre block is 1,300 square metres. Can you read, sir?
Greg Harris is my name. I'm a long-term resident in Haddle Road. What concerns me is that Haddle Road is one of those sort of roads in the mountains that's one of the few roads that's got somewhere to go as far as development's concerned. And you talk about stage 1 and 2 here. You put up a slide there and you showed there's a lot of more blocks that are actually indicated that would be potentially subdividable. So what worries me is that we're talking about stage 1 and 2 here tonight, and I think in 12 months' time you'll be back here and the council will be coming along and they'll say we want to talk about stage 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So it's a real worry. And also the council, you've indicated you're going to put in all the infrastructure into these blocks. You're going to put up all the money for the sewer, the water, the roads. There's a lot of ratepayer money going into that, and I'm very fearful that there's going to be a profit shown. Somebody's got to have a sheet that actually puts down. You should be able to tell us tonight the costs for putting in all that infrastructure as against how much the blocks are going to sell for.
The council themselves have just tried to auction some blocks off that didn't sell.
With a ratepayer liability out of this, and not money for Springwood, everybody in the mountains will be paying for a big stuff up, so you need to get it right. This could go on. We could go on and on, out past Mount Coralie, out to Haddle, and you'll be here every couple of years, milking more money out of Blackheath.
1.2 million is the investment cost of stage 1. Valuations of the current lots could be anywhere between 150 and 190 per lot.
But we're going to carry the can. The council carries the can for all that infrastructure. you know?
In a low black market.
Certainly true that nobody knows what the future will hold, but I'll tell you that Blue Mountain's land is as rare as hen's tooth, and a number of lots of these size, I think, will be snapped up because there are a lot of people who would like to move to the Blue Mountains, and in my 44 3, Springwood, thank you very much, is having a lot of people moving up from the city. They've sold their houses, they have a large amount of money because of the high prices down there, and they move to the Blue Mountains.
But have we got an assurance of the council that if we talk in stage 1 and 2 that we're not going to get hit up with another...
Sorry, thank you for that. Yep.
And I'm not in favour of what we've got off there now.
I understand that. If you look on the council mapping system, and I encourage you all to do that, you will see that there are further lots subdivided further down, slightly further down, not as far down as Mount Werribee, but around the corner and on the right-hand side. I think if we had the motives that perhaps some people ascribe to us, we'd gone right ahead and sold off all of those as well. We've not done so. They're not quite in a residential area. I have to make that point to you. Here you see, I think on the eastern side, on the other side of Hatfield Road, there is development, larger acreage. On the north side, west side there, Beddington Road, you see that there's also housing currently. If we had, excuse me, if we had decided that we wanted all the cash out of Blackheath right now, down to Springwood, where I'm from incidentally, then we would be selling off every parcel of land that we could get our hands on. We think that this is a good and decent development of long standing, and people have a reasonable expectation that land that has been zoned residential for so long, it is reasonable for us to progress given the environmental impacts of this subdivision are extremely minimal because of the way that we're handling it. Next question.
Can I just ask,
with respect to Pat, I'll come back to you first time.
Stop talking about yourself living at Springwood. I think that's been noted. You're making a mockery of it.
Well, with respect, there's a sign over there asking that very question.
We've got it, even up here, we got it.
I'll come to you next, sir, if that's all right.
Mr Mayor, at the risk of being lynched, I don't mind the being developed. Who wouldn't want to live in Blackheath? If you put 90 sections up there, what 90 families wouldn't want to live here? My concern is that we get some of the money sometime along the line, that we get some of the money.
Good for you. I'll come to the sector. Let me say, we are not in the habit of offering inducements. People at Blackheath, you accept this and we'll give you some cash. If there's something that you want, tell us what it is.
We want.
This is, as Alan said to you, this is not an immediate process. These land sales aren't going to occur immediately. So you should not have to wait for whatever it is that you think your area needs. We have a budget process that is on public exhibition at this very moment, and at the end of next month, we will make a decision about the annual budget for 2012-13. Whatever it is that you think that your area needs, you should let your councillors know, and rather than waiting for whatever sums of money flow from this, your concerns can be addressed quicker than that. So,
thank you. My name's Keith. I'm not personally affected by this development, so this is something quite unemotional, I guess. A few comments on what you said before I've got a couple of questions to leave you with. Firstly, I'm concerned that this will end up like severely close with, some houses, a mishmash of minimum mansions. We need invested blocks that council don't care about. We don't need another one of those in Blackheath. I'd like to ask, a couple of comments on what you said. You were talking about the possible development further down the road, Twin Falls. That's not council operational land, that's council community land. I'm sure we will be horrified if you were suggesting chopping that up and selling that as well, because that's not even zoned now for development subdivisions. So I would be very concerned if that was the case. So that's the comment. I'd like to ask a financial question. I've looked through your numbers in some detail. I'm sure everybody has. You mentioned it's now $1.2 million cost, and you're expected to get on average $176,000 per block of land. So you had independent valuations on that. About a month ago, 3 blocks of council operational land were up for auction. They weren't even bid on, and they would have been in the order of $75,000-$80,000. There was no market for them, and they're just around the corner and got out of the event. How do you think the floating market with 15 at the moment and another 30 blocks is going to come anywhere near the $176,000 you require? If you've got even low absolute cost and you don't get the money that's expected and the whole thing pieces. Will the council who voted this in, yourself included, Mr Mayor, will you be able to stand up and accept that your plan of financial confidence will be judged by the results of the sale or not of that land?
Yes. I think there was a couple of questions in there, but in terms of, look, I've stood by every vote in the 13 years that I've been on the council, every one of them. We've had a very, very long look at this, and I think it's a reasonable suggestion that scarce land would be snapped up. Certainly the market's quite flat at the moment, but if it is passed in, I don't think it will be. It will be done at a time several, I would not speculate the exact amount of time hence, but certainly not immediately, and the global financial crisis may well be easing. The market may well be turning. These things do go in cycles.